Today I'm looking at the Squier Classic Vibe 50s Telecaster. And unlike my previous Squier videos, I'm going to explore how the stock model might best be improved, and talk about whether it makes sense to do so. Stick around. Before I began this channel, I'd never even played a Squier guitar, but I've now featured about 5. Now, I've stuck to the upper end of the brand's offerings, and I think I've gotten a pretty good sense of how well these guitars are made and what are their strengths and weaknesses. Now, on the plus side, they've all been built pretty well for this price point. I'm not sure if they're the best value out there, but they are competitive and have the advantage of being the only inexpensive Fender-style guitars that really look just like Fenders. Now, like the other classic vibe models I've looked at, this one is put together and finished quite well. Now, the body wood is pine. Some of you will be aware that Leo Fender used pine for some of the earliest Squiers and Telecaster prototypes. And some high-end modern Teles utilize pine bodies as well. So, not a bad choice. I really like this blonde finish, although it should probably have the white pickguard of the later 50s Tele. But hey, this is classic vibe, not vintage accurate. And it's a good look. Now, the neck has a nice vintage tint, and as for the hardware, well, we can't expect top quality, but it all functions as it should. So let's hear it stock. Well, like every classic vibe model I've looked at so far, the guitar itself is better than the pickups. So today we're going to see if we can produce a truly gig-worthy Tele with a pickup upgrade. Now, in keeping with the 50s vibe, I've selected a Seymour Duncan Vintage broadcaster set. In addition, I noticed in my parts bin I had a genuine Fender USA Vintage-style Tele bridge with brass saddles. Now, the mounting and string holes lined up perfectly, so I went ahead and installed that as well. I could have installed more US Fender parts, such as a switch, pots, output jack, and so on, but I decided to keep it real and stop there. Let's hear how it sounds now. So, what do you think? Well, for me, it's a big improvement. And if you really like the guitar, it could be well worth it, with some obvious caveats. Now, the guitar sells new for $430 US. Buying these pickups new, they'd set you back another $178. Now, I found new Fender vintage-style bridges for around $45. And if you have to pay someone for the installation, well, add all that up and it might be making a lot less sense. Now, if you're going to spend that much, there are lots of other Teles and Tele-style guitars to consider. On the other hand, if you know how to solder, and especially if you like to shop used, well, then it might just be a sensible choice. Especially if you really like the Squier. For me personally, at this price point, I'd probably just choose something like the G&L Tribute ASAT, or maybe the Sire T3, both of which come with better stock pickups and probably a little better hardware. But if you're one of the many players who want your Tele to look as classic as possible and really enjoy the upgrading process, then this certainly isn't a bad way to go. Well, I hope you found this interesting. Now, let me just say, I've never been one of those who thinks it's all about the pickups, and oftentimes spending money to swap pickups produces a less dramatic change than you'd think. Every guitar has an inherent voice that tends to come through, so swapping high-quality pickups for different high-quality pickups can often be a letdown. But when the stock pickups are so obviously holding the guitar back, that's when it makes sense. Well, I want to thank you for making it this far in the video, and I hope that means you've enjoyed it. Take a moment to hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing so you don't miss future videos. And I will see you again very soon.